What's up, YouTube? This is the Panda coming at you from the Bear House. Again, Happy New Year 2016. This is like the first video besides the Rage Quit video that I posted. And I'm putting this in a playlist because if you guys haven't noticed yet that I've been talking about on my Facebook page, for some of you guys that aren't actually on it, me and my roommate Josh started a gaming podcast, and it's actually pretty funny. We kind of have no filter, more of like the Joe Rogan style conversational type podcast, but very informative if you guys are still playing some World of Warcraft. We talk a lot about Legion. We talk about other, sometimes we talk about other games. We're pretty heavy on the Warcraft stuff, but it'd be awesome if you guys want to check it out. I'm going to actually be posting episodes on this YouTube as well. And if you guys want to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe if you guys haven't already. And let us know what you want to hear on our podcast. And if you guys have any leads on some good guests that we wouldn't mind bringing on the show. So without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to the Not So Casual Podcast, Episode 1. Enjoy.
This is the Not So Casual Podcast. If you're casual, get the f*** out.
Welcome to the Not So Casual Podcast. We talk about games and shit.
Well, there you go.
It's
Welcome.
been good.
Well, welcome to the Not So Casual Gaming Podcast. My name is Mike, and my co-host, who you'll be hearing throughout all these podcasts, nonetheless, Josh.
Hello. I was thinking about how does nonetheless work there, and I really like. Am I not less of a person now?
I don't know if that's really what it means, but
I think we should Google that. We should have probably Googled that before we started.
Oh, I don't know. This is our pilot episode. I don't know what you want us to do. Anyways, so just to tell you a little bit about this podcast, since this is the new thing for both of us and for you guys listening, probably, we are here to talk about a lot of gaming stuff. We're
Lots of games.
big nerds. We play mainly World of Warcraft, but we also play a lot of other Blizzard games and pretty much everything you can think of.
Big WoW dorks. Lots of Diablo, especially when the new seasons start. We're all over that. COD, personally for me, Path of Exile. I love Path of Exile. We might cover a little bit of that on here.
Yeah,
Just anything really. I'm pretty varied with what I play. It's a lot of WoW, but I do play a lot of stuff. So,
and we will try everything. I mean, if it's just one of those things, like if
Hello
there's
Kitty Island Adventure. I'm all over that shit. Give me a leveling system and a skill tree, and I will play it.
Hello Kitty just reminded me of Katamari Damacy. Did you ever play that?
I did not.
One of the craziest, weirdest games. You're just like a little ball, and you're like going around collecting the most random things. You get bigger and bigger, and you start collecting people and shit like that. But we're not going to be talking about that today. So we wanted to bring you something new, something fresh. Like I said, we're going to be talking a lot about World of Warcraft. Legion's going to be coming out.
Booyah, Legion.
So excited. And, we've been playing this game for quite a while. So let's talk about your WoW history and your gaming history in general, Josh.
All right. Well, I think a lot of people in especially our generation, kind of early 30s, maybe mid 30s, late 30s, I think we all pretty much started with the original Nintendo. Yes. And Super Mario, Mega Man, like all that stuff. That was just Excite Bike. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
whew,
I can hear all those 8-bit themes in my head right now.
Yeah. Started there. And more relevant to the podcast, started playing WoW. I started playing right before the Zulamon patch, 2.3, I believe it was.
A long time ago.
Right before the Zulamon patch, my brother played WoW, and he was like, "Hey, come check this game out." And I went. At first, I was like, "This is dumb. This game sucks. What are you running around? What are you, a skeleton? That's fucking stupid." And so initially, I was kind of against it, and then he's like, check out this giant green muscular thing. I was an orc, played Horde, and I started leveling an orc warrior on his account. and I got to like level 30 and I was hooked.
Really?
Hooked bad. I was in Stranglethorn Vale, old Stranglethorn Vale, pre-Kata.
Oh my god, SCP.
And just getting ganked by level, I think the cap was 70 back then. Just getting ganked by level 70s and just raging, and my mom yelling at me from, what are you guys doing in there? I'm just like, fuck you! Just getting so mad.
I've had those
hooked,
moments.
Hooked, totally hooked. So got to 70 and kind of was like, what is this game about? And he kind of showed me rating, because he played Undead Warlock, and he was level 70.
I hated Undead. I hated it so much.
Yeah, you were an Alliance player.
Yeah.
Scum.
We'll talk about that later.
And I'm now on the Alliance, which is funny, but whatever.
Sorry.
So I started raiding, and I got in with a kind of entry level guild. We were doing tier 4, doing Karazhan clears, and I believe Karazhan dropped tier 4. Yeah, because it was Curator and Prince Melchizar, whatever.
Malchazar?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Didn't he look just like Archimon?
And Lord Jaraxxus.
And Lord Jaraxxus. Oh my god! I just realized it's so weird now that I think about it. They literally all look the same.
Content.
It's reskinned. I'm gonna give him brown colors.
Jaraxxus is red and Archimon is green and really tall.
Exactly.
But so started raiding there. Got really into it. Got geared up surprisingly quick. I was one of the only tanks that guild had, so really geared really fast, and got into tier 5 during Burning Crusade, and kind of hit a wall, people not wanting to show up, and so I transferred off of that server and ended up raiding tier 6 with some people that I met. Cleared Highjaw Black Temple, got into Sunwell, got to kill Jaden kill the night before they nerfed it, because we were a little behind progression.
Sunwell, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, very, very hard.
I mean,
instance.
we are not casual. So
exactly.
So high-end rate. So basically, I guess all that is to say high-end rating was really my thing. Back when heroic, back when there was no heroic, it was 25 man or go die somewhere. Like there was not a lot of there. It was 25. Karazhan was 10. Zulaman was 10. But that was really, once we got into Sunball, that was just not relevant for us anymore. So from there, really hit my stride as far as world rankings and things in Wrath of the Lich King. There really, Naxxramas was not. We didn't really compete for firsts or anything, but we were the server first glory achievement, server first immortal, undying, and then by that time I had switched over to a hunter, which I still play now, and I transfer there. Kind of some, not really guild drama, just the leadership just kind of didn't want to do it anymore, and they sort of disbanded the guild. So I joined up. I transferred. Shush. Sorry, that was Jess wanting to be on the podcast.
That's his hunter pet.
That's my hunter pet. Dog buff. We're running with the dog buff. So transferred over to Mal'Ganis on the Horde side, which in Wrath of the Lich King was booming. Elitist jerks were, I think they're still there actually.
EJ,
but
yeah.
EJ's there. Vigil was there. Blood Legion? No, they're on Illidan. Some really like world ranking guilds were there. And I joined a guild. We got, I think, World 50th Firefighter, which was hard mode Mimiron.
Oh, wow.
And that was one of the most difficult things I've ever done in this game, at least up until that point. And we got a server 3rd or 4th and World 50-ish Algalon kill. So that was really...
That's impressive.
I mean, I was raiding like 4 or 5 days a week, 6 hours at a time. So you definitely had to put in the hours. And then sort of fell apart when we got into No Watcher Yogg, Zero Light Yogg. So I ended up transferring again, getting that with a guild. Just kind of like the story of, I think my story of WoW is pretty... I don't want to say standard, but I think a lot of people had the same experience where you go somewhere, you raid really hard, accomplish something really difficult, and then people kind of burn out and don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So kind of bounced around a little bit, but had a ton of fun and joined, ended up going back to Mal'Ganis and joining a guild for Ice Crown. And we managed to get heroic lich, because that was when heroic modes came out, I'm pretty sure. Actually, Trial of Crusader is when heroic modes came out, if I recall. And Trial of Crusader was kind of like, I pugged my way through that on Mal'Ganis. Back in the day, man, Mal'Ganis was so booming, you could find pugs that would clear heroic on it. Like, you could pug it. It was
Really?
It was the player base was so skilled. And it was just a kind of a golden. I haven't been on Mal'Ganis for a couple of years now, but that was sort of like the golden age of Mal'Ganis. People from Mal'Ganis might disagree now, but
Things have changed.
Things have changed. So ended up getting into Ice Crown, and I was in a really good guild there, and we had multiple. I had multiple tunes with Glory on that one because we would run alt runs, and we ended up getting heroic Lich King again the day before the nerf. But that was 10 man, so I would think it's a Bane achievement was done right the night, like basically it was Monday night and the patch came out Tuesday, and we managed to get it.
Holy shit! Just
on 10 man, just
waiting to the last second.
Waiting, and 25 man we killed him after the patch, so I'm not that hardcore. So anyone listening, fucking casual, how long did it take you? And it's like, all right, relax.
Calm down.
And then Cataclysm kind of took a break. Still rated, but took a break. Same for Mop. Came back at the end of Mop. Ended up getting all golds. Mop challenge modes in comparison to the WoD challenge modes were a lot easier. There was maybe one or two that were really difficult. Storm Stout Brewery, that was really hard.
I hated that place just in general.
The challenge mode, and I did the challenge modes with the guild that you and I are in now. I did it before you joined up. It took us probably 10 or 15 tries to really get it. And with Everbloom, the WoD challenge mode now, and Warlords of Draenor is what I'm talking about. Everbloom probably took us 45 tries to get it. We had missed it by a couple seconds a couple times, just it was the WoD challenge modes were much more difficult. But in Mop ended up getting heroic ahead of the curve.
Nice.
Garrosh with this guild. I mean, it's no mythic or anything like that.
Yeah, but still, I mean, heroic is not for the faint of heart. Still, I mean, you still have to not. I mean, I hate saying casual, but I mean, you have to really understand your class. I mean, you can kind of get carried, I guess, in a way.
To an extent, you still have to do your role, and you still have to play your class the right way and produce the numbers that are required. In the end of the day, this game's a numbers game. Can your group of 10 or 15 people, can you produce numbers that are better than the numbers the boss has? I mean, really, that's what it is.
I agree.
And yeah, a lot of human elements come into it, my Cheeto covered fingers actually accidentally slipped and I bloodlusted right before hero, there's human error involved there, but heroic is no joke. And as we're learning through Hellfire Citadel, we just finished doing the bottom 6 bosses on an off day, and it's like, oh god, these are easy. And before it was like, why are these so difficult?
Oh god, I don't want to talk about it, especially coming in and turning into a healer for this expansion.
Yeah, so basically that's kind of like my WoW background. So I don't know, when did Burning Crusade come out? 2007?
Oh my god, it's been so long.
I want to say it was
7 or late 6.
It might have been super late, like December 2006. So 2007, same fucking thing.
So you've been playing a while.
So what is that? Almost 10 years now, which Hang on, got BRB rethinking life.
Yeah, we're still playing this game, Josh.
But hit me with your background, Mike. Let's let the listeners find out who the Mike is.
Well then. So I started actually same type of gaming background, played Nintendo.
For sure.
All the Nintendo consoles, all that good stuff. You know, and I could only play it when my mom would let me, so she was pretty strict about it. She hated every second about it because all I did was play video games if I could.
It was the babysitter to my mom.
Oh, dude, it was perfect. And then eventually it was just like, okay, you're gonna be okay at home. I'm like, yeah, I'm be fine. It's like I'm gonna light fires in the backyard.
Yeah, I'm not gonna move.
Yeah, I'm like 9, Mom. I'm fine. I'll play my Nintendo or my SNES. Anyway, so you know the whole console gaming thing, and then computers came out. I had a Packard Bell. You know, I was playing Minesweeper and Solitaire.
Oh man.
But to skip along, I mean, the first real MMO I ever played was EverQuest.
Ooh.
I didn't play it a lot. I didn't play it enough. I just played my buddy's account whenever I was bored, and I was like, man, this game's awesome. Like it's crazy. The graphics are so cool. Like I can cast spells and shit like that. Just and I used to read pretty nerdy things. I mean, used to read Lord of the Rings every summer. Just this is the fantasy. This is Lord of the Rings game. And a lot of us. I mean,
so not to interrupt, but did you ever, as later on as a teenager, early adult, ever think, God, it would be cool if LOTR came out as an MMO?
Oh, completely.
Oh my. Okay.
Complete. Oh,
right,
and then, just to go on a tangent for a second.
Oh, he's waving his finger.
And then it actually came out as I don't know if it was considered really an MMO.
No, it was
like
an action adventure game.
Yeah, it wasn't even an RTS really. But whatever. That whole thing came out, and I was like, I got to play this. Never played it.
It was awesome.
Was it really?
Oh yeah, it was cool.
Ah, damn it. Now I want to go back and play it.
Playing on an original Xbox, it was pretty dope.
Well then.
You get to be Aragorn just chopping through stuff.
That's what I'm
Oh my
saying.
god, how
That's what
did
I'm
you
saying.
not? Okay. All right, let's get back on topic.
Sorry. Lord of the Rings nerds over here. If you couldn't tell, we're kind of nerdy. So then StarCraft kind of came into my life.
Yeah.
So a lot of RTS gaming. Nothing super competitive there. And then Warcraft 3 came out. And I had played a little bit of Warcraft and Warcraft 2, but it wasn't to the extent of how much I was playing. Me and my best friend Ryan, we would play Warcraft 3 and do 2v2s nonstop. And we literally we got so good with orcs that we were like, you know what, let's challenge ourselves and let's try to get our random black dragon just being able to queue up as pretty much any class. So it was pretty fun, and I was like, you know what, the lore is amazing. Frozen Throne came out, the story about Arthas came out.
See, I played that game after I had played WoW for a year or two.
Oh,
and I kind of like played it, and I was like, oh, this is Arthus.
Yes.
Like light bulb, ding. Everyone was like, oh, Wrath of the Lich King. I'm like, sweet. Who the fuck
is that guy? Yeah. So it's so
like a douche.
Oh, he was a complete douche. Like in the campaigns, there's just the whole lore of the game. And I'm not like a big lore master type of the game. I mean, I know a lot of the story, but
I don't at all.
The main storyline is amazing, about all the way up to Frozen Throne and then the whole Arthas dealing and Lich King. So then rumors came out, World of Warcraft. Like, oh my God, wait, what is this? And then it's like, oh, it's an MMO. I'm like, MMORPG? That's the longest thing I've ever heard. What the hell does that acronym mean? And you find out what it is. And it's like, shit, we got to get in on this. So me and my buddies in high school, we were like, oh shit, we got to really get into this. And I think it was, the rumors were in high school. The game didn't come out till after we graduated high school. So 04. And we got into beta,
04.
and then we got into beta.
Oh,
so like around 03, we got to play a little bit. I got to play Shaman on Horde, which was so awesome. You get to start, in the starting zones and just like see the world. Like it's a whole different thing, especially coming from an EverQuest like background. From what I knew as MMO, I mean, it was completely different. So loved playing that.
Wind Fury Totem.
Dropped out of beta. The game came out in 04. I didn't really get it on release, but at some point, I think within the next week or two, I picked it up, had to save some money.
I'd give you credit for on release. I'll give you credit for that. 'Cause
That's close enough.
No one really knew what it was.
Yeah, I mean,
so I think if you got it the same week it came out, okay, you get credit.
on release,
Yeah.
I mean, I played vanilla essentially. So started playing a warrior on Hellscream, one of the OG servers.
Oh, gee.
And just start leveling character with my buddies. And back then, you didn't experience this, Josh. It took fucking forever to level up to 60.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that it was I've heard that they took the EverQuest grind and then made it look like a Martha Stewart cookbook.
Oh my god, dude! Like, if you thought leveling up was horrible in any of the expansions, this was by far the longest, most like ridiculous thing. Just questing, grinding fucking boars, grinding mobs.
I've never found any of the leveling experiences to be burdensome.
Okay.
Because I leveled I got a little bit tired of it when I hit like 65 and I was like, come on, and like I could see the finish line level 70 and I was starting to really like, okay, I want to get to max level, like let's go. And I was tromping through Zangarmarsh on my wolf. And I couldn't afford epic riding, so I was running around at 60% just taking for but I've never felt like it was bad, and people always scoff at me. They're like, BC player, let me tell you about leveling.
Yeah, that's essentially how it was. And at one point, I don't know what level I hit. I probably hit like 30 or something like that. I just like couldn't do it. I was too busy with school, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a little bit of a break and just come back to it and see where it's at. And obviously nothing changed when I came back.
Right.
But what I found out was my buddy who had my account information at the time. Sorry, Blizzard. It wasn't anything. There was no bad things going on. He just wanted to play a warrior.
Gold farming.
Yeah, he was not gold farming. I might be Asian, but we don't gold farm. He was a white guy. So he ended up leveling my character quite a bit, close to 60. So by the time I came back, I was just like, oh shit. All right, we're close. He already had his paladin already set up. My other friend Adam had I can't remember what character he played. I think he played a hunter.
So that's interesting that you betaed a horde character and then came back on the alliance.
So let me tell you about that. Thanks for reminding me. And it'll be quick. I promise. It'll be quick. So the reason why we started playing alliance, and I pretty much played alliance the entire 11 years that I've been playing this game now.
Wow, career.
Yeah. The reason why was because it was, oh, you guys, we should totally play dwarfs and live in a mountain and be fucking cool, man. And so we all decided to roll dwarfs. Like my original warrior was, who I still every once in a while log into because I play different characters now. We were dwarfs. And we loved Ironforge. That was the cool thing. Fuck the horde.
I appreciate how you enunciate dwarfs.
Dwarfs. Anyway,
not dwarves.
No, dwarfs.
Dwarfs. DWORF.
So, anyways, 60 comes along, and the game is completely. There was really nothing to do at that point until I think. Probably actually Burning Crusade really came out, and
well, I mean there were raids.
Yeah, so the dungeons were great. Obviously, there's no heroics back then, but there was Molten Core. I think came out. Molten Core was there. Blackwing Lair, which were the two raids, and then
AQ after that, right?
Yeah, and then AQ. Then the gates opened up and all that jazz. But the raiding aspect, which I didn't even get into the rating part of it until after I got through the PvP stuff. So, I was
gonna say, I think the inaccessibility, if you will, because I don't think they were that inaccessible, but to people who may not know ahead of time, I think that's why the whole Terran Mill versus South Shore,
the epic battles,
the world PvP really flourished in vanilla because hey, it was super hard to get gear, and what is fun? Is it fun to grind NPCs or is it fun to go kill other players? Well, it's fun to go kill other players.
It was. No, and that's the thing. Hellscream was a PvE server, so you had to flag yourself, and so we would hear, oh, it's the horde, they're coming they're coming, dude. They're lining up at Terran Mill right now. We should go get everybody. So
Just hear the Imperial March in the background.
oh, so then you get all your buddies, like all the best PvPers on the server, which back then we were waiting to queue for AV at the time against the Horde. So we would line up in South Shore, get in these just like everybody starts to flag, but nobody moves. It's this huge
like
just
Revolutionary War lines of people.
Oh, completely. So it was just waiting for the first person to run through, and it was always the Warriors because we would just charge at each other, and then everybody would come in. You'd like have a paladin pre-casting heals on you because you knew you were about to get wrecked, and then we would put our fucking shield walls and shit. Anyways, so the big epic battles, and so the PvP was amazing, and most of my experience through that was grinding and not realizing that, oh shit, I got all these ranks. What are these ranks for? Then I realized, oh, there's 14 ranks. So a lot of my PvP life was grinding in vanilla in BC to get Grand Marshal. So that was like 7 months of grinding, and Hellscream was really good. We had a really good like GM group. We had a website that calculated all the honor that we all had to hit to make sure that every week we were getting a new Grand Marshal to get all the gear.
Precursors to Mr. Robot.
Exactly, pretty much. It was kind of hacky, but a lot of us just pushed hard. I mean, I was in college, like doing online classes, so I could play World of Warcraft 12 to 13 hours a day.
As the name would suggest, we are not casual.
Not casual at all. But just to jump forward into the raiding stuff, I got to raid with the one of the top guilds on the server. They were nowhere near what you guys did, server first type stuff or anything like that. Or not server first, I'm sorry, world first like rankings. But
not first, but we were ranked.
Yeah, and there was a lot of top end guilds back then, Echoes of Elysium, like all those really big names back in the day, and it was a lot of competition. It was fun to kind of get into, oh yeah, this is kind of it's not easy, because you kind of back then there wasn't really rotations. It was just kind of like spam your buttons, and you have maybe 3 or 4 spells you can even hit.
If there's one thing I regret, it's missing that.
It was different, man. It was really different.
Because BC was like the start of, okay, these are the spells you should cast. Here's the most optimal order or optimized order in which to do it. Use this and this. Because like for hunters in BC, it was like, if you have to use your Bestial Wrath. Like, because BM was the only spec for PvE.
Oh, yeah.
And Big Red Kitty had the macro that you had to use so you didn't clip.
Kitty.
You didn't clip your steady shots. Hunters will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Steady shot clipping was a problem back then. And or auto shot clipping with steady shot was an issue. So you had a macro that you had on 2 separate buttons so it wouldn't clip and it would maximize deep. But I miss that. I get more nostalgic for that part of the game that I never saw.
Yeah, it was a different time. Like there was no threat meters, there was no DPS meters, there was literally nothing. All you had was I think Bigwigs eventually came out at some point before DBM even started, and like you had these weird things. You're like, oh, he's gonna do something. Like, oh, that's weird. You kind of learned the fight. You had to learn the fight
kind of as it went.
Yeah, and WarcraftMovies.com was out back then, and you could watch these other guilds do the fights and stuff.
Gosh.
So like Onyxia, Ragnaros, Nefarian, like all
those other guilds that did stuff was probably one of our friends was probably in most of those videos.
I'm sure. Yeah, we have
we've got a friend of ours that played in vanilla as well and was in basically every world first kill that you can, because he played EU and played US. Like he was not casual in any sense of the word. But anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah, so raiding back then was great. I mean, and the thing that helped me kind of get into the raiding, besides playing with all the top end guilds, was starting a PvP guild that then started kind of doing some raiding, and we had the best gear. Like we could compete against the T2 like other horde guilds.
Yeah, they weren't like PvP stats back then.
No, it was just straight stats. So like I had my strength, my not crit, but I had my strength and my stamina up on my gear. I had one of the best two-handed weapons, the Grand Marshal Claymore. Like, so being a rank 14
Sexy.
was, dude, rank 14 was a big deal back then. And then the tier sets came out, and back in the day, PvP hardcore PvP was all about strategy. And if you could beat those guys on the strategy, like whether it's Arathi Basin or Warsong Gulch, and having those long 3-hour Warsong Gulch matches and the fucking 4-day AVs, like it was insane. But
so much honor.
oh yeah, but and then fast forwarding a little bit, you know, I pretty much rated everything that you can think of. And placing pretty high on the server with my guild that I ended up starting with 2 other guild masters. And
Shout out to Ancient Hysteria.
Ancient Hysteria and Hellscream. And we did really well for a long time. We were top 10 on the server on pretty much everything you can think of, coming up all the way until about right after Wrath of the Lich King is where things kind of like dwindled a little bit, and this is when I stopped kind of playing during Cataclysm. I think I leveled up a couple characters in Cataclysm, didn't get to see any of the raids, and I kind of quit. Which
that's kind of around the time that we met.
It was because this is when I can't remember where the conversation came up. Oh, it was with Reese. It was with our friend Reese, and we were having dinner or games at the condo.
Yeah, I had ridden up to Rocky Point or down to Rocky Point with him because we're in Arizona, and Rocky Point's just 4 hour drive away.
Mm-hmm.
And it was for a volleyball tournament. And we were coming back, and I made a joke. I said, "Too soon, executor or executus." And he looked at me. He like shot me this look, like. When you like say like I didn't, but say like I murdered someone, and someone was like, oh, it's like oh, what are you gonna murder me? And then you shoot them a look like, do you know? Like, how would you know? Like, how they don't know. That's the look he gave me. And I was like, did I touch on a nerve there, pal? And he's like, so I have questions. And I was like, okay. And for the next 2 hours, we annoyed the other 2 people in the car with WoW talk, yelling about arenas and PvE and that's how we started on it. I think I was hanging out at your condo before I moved in there one day, and he came over and I
saw the figurines.
He saw the figurines, and I went, okay, I know I'm in good company here. I know who we are.
That's right, and that was such a funny moment. That's where our friendships like literally blasted out of the atmosphere because it was like, you guys play WoW? Oh, I play WoW too. Oh,
okay. Let's talk about stuff. And like 6 other people are just looking at us as we're like. Just talking about stuff. Oh, you played a rogue, I played a hunter, twos, fuck you.
And it's funny because and you guys listening out there, if you're listening to this and you were hardcore, even casual WoW players, you guys know that when you run into somebody that played the game, you're either gonna go gung ho and tell them everything you've done, or you're gonna sit back and be like what Reese kind of does. He's like, so what did you what'd you end up doing? I mean,
what color was your character's hair?
Yeah, and then you're just like, oh, because you're waiting for that guy is bullshitting, and we've met somebody like this.
Oh yeah. I just mouthed a name to someone, mouthed a name of someone who we know. I can think of 2 people.
Oh, wait, who's the other one? Oh, dude. Fucking A,
He's
man.
like, oh, I was Grand Marshal. Shut the fuck up. No, you weren't.
Oh, my God.
Fucking casual.
Yeah, goddamn casual. So it's just funny because, like, you know when somebody's bullshitting because it's like, especially when me, Josh, and our buddy Reese, who eventually at some point we might have him on the show.
He'll be on the show at some point.
Yeah, we all are sitting there and we all know what we've done. So we pretty much know a lot of the community back in the day.
A lot of the same people in game too.
Exactly. And you just listen to this guy talk. He's like, oh yeah, we accidentally did this thing and got like world fur or some stuff. It's like,
it was in Death and Taxes for a while, and at first when he said that, I was like, you're full of shit. And then I went and like looked, and I was like, oh, he was. Like, oh,
Oops, my bad.
Yeah, he was actually in those kills. And like, it's not like I didn't fully believe him, but I was like, I'm gonna fact check this.
Yeah,
and then I went, oh shit.
And it's funny because even
I'm an idiot.
And the funny thing about it too, is we back when we run into these people, like we weren't like hardcore as much as we used to be. We're kind of like, we were in that older late 20s.
Now we're a little older. We're playing, but we're not like 8 hours a day playing, 12 hours a day.
I know,
calling off work.
Oh my god, I don't want to talk about that. But
there's a new patch out. I gotta play for 48 hours straight.
Exactly, and that's kind of so. Just as fast forward yet again, just because I feel like I'm about right where I want to be. It started doing all the rating stuff, quit during Cataclysm for a little bit, which kind of pissed me off now because
Cataclysm raids were fun.
Because I started running Cataclysm runs with Josh to just like get money,
farm money,
and I was like, man, this shit was awesome. Like the raids were actually really cool, and I fucking missed it. And here's the other other worst part about it that I hated the most, and it was that I quit my subscription for 3 months when I quit, and now I didn't get that fucking 10-year statue. Yeah, you guys.
How did I not qualify? Oh, did I?
Did you stop subscription at some point?
Yeah, I did. I did during Cataclysm because I was still on Mal'Ganis for the first raid tier of Cataclysm, and then I stopped for Firelands, and then came back in the tail end of Dragon Soul.
God damn it. Anyways, whatever. I mean, it's a statue.
It was like a 6-month gap where I didn't play.
Yeah, so we kind of had that falling out.
Well,
like,
son of a bitch. Now I'm mad.
I thought you knew.
Blizzard, Blizz,
please.
At Blizzard CS, give me a goddamn statue.
If our podcast could tweet at you guys right now, we're so mad.
What if I just buy every plushie? Will you guys just send me one?
Dude, I would spend all my money just to get a statue.
Okay, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I found a website that will build custom lightsabers today. So, yeah. Mike's giving me the fuck me look.
Oh my god.
Not to go too off tangent, but that's something to consider because the plan for the podcast, once we kind of get established, is to have some cameras up.
Oh yeah.
Have show the studio, show a little bit, and I was like, I want a Mace Windu lightsaber. I want a purple one.
Oh, dude, that'd be so sick. Okay, so that's kind of it, and I mean, and to really get to the end of my story real quick, I'm now raiding with Josh in our guild on Korgath, and we're doing pretty good. I think we're pretty much.
We got we got a late start in the heroic progression.
We did.
I took a break for the beginning of Hellfire. WoD, we're gonna get into this is actually a really good segue because we're gonna get into how WoW is now.
Exactly.
And it's not necessarily going to be complaints. There might be some complaints in there. It's just going to be more of the state of the game. And I think this is relevant because we've been wanting to do this podcast for a while, and
a long time now.
And the Legion announcement came out, and I think I sent you a Facebook message, and I said, we're roommates. We both work in the same, town, but Facebook messaging is just easier with because we're both on the computers all day for work.
Exactly.
And so I sent you a Facebook message and I said, holy shit, this is the perfect time. This is the perfect time because there's so much to discuss. And I've listened to WoW podcasts that are out there right now that talk about WoD, that talk about a lot of stuff, and I'm so unsatisfied with what they deliver. I'm not talking shit on them because I know there's a lot of podcasts out there that are very well established.
Oh yeah.
But what they deliver is not what I'm looking for. And I think that there's an audience for what we provide.
Let's go.
And so to me, it was the perfect time to launch it because we can launch it before Legion and we can have there is so much content with this game and with what Legion is proposing. And I know everyone's got their everyone's kind of hurt from what happened in WoD, and we're going to get into that. But I just really feel like where we are now, WoD we took a little break. Mike and I think Mike didn't really take a break. I did because I needed to get
time
away
out.
from it
Yep.
for a little while. But I mean, Black Rock Foundry was a great raid except for the last boss. And it's not just one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, that guy was a bitch. It was like, no, I'm legitimately upset at the design of that boss.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm upset at Blizzard for designing such a poor boss fight, and not catering, because that's not even close to the right word. Giving an advantage to larger raid groups.
I agree.
And there's so much, there's fixes to that problem. And yeah, I know it's coding. I don't code. I don't write games, so
We don't run the numbers.
I'd be talking out of my ass if I were to say, well, just go in there and switch a couple ones and zeros, faggots. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But that being said, maybe because you can set roles in a raid group, maybe not have, if you only have 2 healers in a raid group of 12, maybe don't let healers get targeted by Impale. Or both healers at the same time. Like, maybe just put that in there, because I guarantee you we would have killed it 25% faster
We wouldn't
if there was some logic that applied. And yeah, okay, I might be complaining because, oh, we'll just deal with it. Like, yeah, we did. We killed it. We got AOTC on it.
We did.
A lot of people took breaks after that because they were just like, we raid with a small group, between 10 and 15 people, and it just was what I'm getting at is that the RNG factor of it was so poorly executed, in my opinion.
I agree.
And there's reasons. I have theories, and I think there are reasons for that. But we're going to get in. Well, actually, yeah, we'll get into that because our first topic is raids, what we want to talk about. But with where we are now, we're doing well. We have a solid 12, 13 people right now. We're still looking for more. It's challenging because people are it's in a weird kind of transition state with the announcement of Legion. People are coming back, but we don't know when. So some people are still not coming back, and recruiting is a little bit difficult.
Exactly.
And I think raid, the looking for group tool has kind of hurt guild recruitment unless you're a mythic guild, which we all can't be, especially on a 2-day schedule. So, but I mean, we're 12 to 13 right now with sub 10% wipes on Heroic Archimon. So we're there. It's just that, like I said before, it's a numbers game. We'll get there. And Mike and I both raided with them for all of High Mall. Got AOTC in High Mall. That was actually a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, but I wanted to bring up the Imperator fight just for a second because.
So let's actually, before we get into that, because I know I went on a tangent on Black Hand there.
Yeah.
I was blind with rage. Black Hand. In your fiery fucking neck.
Oh my god, that guy.
So let's start it off like this. So I want to talk about how we feel about the state of the game now. We're gonna cover a 4 main topics here, and I really have a lot of thoughts on this. But I think that we can really kind of condense it but also be fleshed out and really get into it. So let's start with raids. And High Mall. Give me your thoughts on High Mall, including Imperator thoughts.
High Mall coming back into the game during MOP, like kind of playing more, I should say, because I never really quit after that or before that.
Yeah.
I really liked what they did with Miss. I didn't get to experience, obviously, the hardcore side of it. So once we got into High Mall, which is the first raid in Warlords of Draenor,
Warlords.
it was actually really fun. It was weird that it wasn't a tier raid, which kind of upset me a little bit.
But that happened in MOP too. They did that with.
I don't remember.
Well, and the only reason I know that is just simply because I haven't gone back and done them, but because there's kind of no point. That was when LFR came out in Dragon Soul, and it was just as much of a shit show as it is now. So that LFR kind of hasn't changed, and I have thoughts about LFR that I'll give kind of when it's my turn.
Yeah,
I guess, even though I'm talking right now.
No, that's totally fine. I mean, that's kind of why.
But they did that in MOP too. They did that with the first instance was kind of like all right. You've been going through dungeons. You're getting, what was it, item level like 450 gear in dungeons, I think, in MOP. Okay, this is now LFR was like 460 something. I don't know. And then the regular raid gear was like 476.
Okay.
And then Heart of Fear and that was kind of in the tier, and then that bumped it up to like in the 480s.
That's right. Because I remember doing the fights on LFR, and then
But give me your thoughts on that. What do you think that's a good design?
I don't know. I feel like it's not really necessarily a catch-up mechanic for people, but I get what Blizzard's trying to do, where they want everybody to be able to play and do all the raids. Because I feel like WoW is a heavy raid. It's about the raids and the dungeons. It's not as much about the PvP. Because we've all heard about the bullshit with PvP.
We're going to talk about PvP next.
I know, we'll do that next. But I feel like WoW, to me...
Keep your pants on.
I know. To me, there's a fire in my crotch. But the raids to me are like the thing about World of Warcraft, and
okay,
having I guess it was Flex back then too, right?
Flex did not come until
was that later in Mist?
It was not until Siege of Orgrimmar.
Siege, that's right. Okay, so Siege of Orgrimmar.
So the mop raids were LFR 1025.
So I guess the item level deal, because I was so, back in the day it was just tier, like you didn't really have item levels back then, at least they didn't have real numbers that I knew of. I get you have to do these certain things to get there, and even as a hardcore raider, if you're not jumping straight into normals or flex or whatever, it was a way to get gear. And even though that gear was, 476 or whatever, and then the next one was 480, and then you get the 496 gear.
Kind of irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the model I thought was good. For the casual players, which I feel like the game has evolved into a very easy. I feel like a lot easier to play. Not that it's not at the top, not at the high end, but like you can kind of get by. You can kind of get by just kind of like, these are my buttons and spells, and here's some procs and stuff, and I'm doing damage. I'm not there to do, the best damage, but
it's definitely the model, and this is why dungeons are only relevant for a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And the model is too easy to get gear. They've made gear too accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that you should be a top end raider to have to complete a 5-man dungeon.
Of course not.
I disagree.
Mm-hmm.
But that is how I learned to play the game.
Yes.
Because you had some easier dungeons in Burning Crusade. Mm-hmm. They were just not that bad. Mm-hmm. Like some of the entry heroics were just very easy.
Yeah.
And then you had places like Shadow Labs.
Oh,
and
God.
Then you had places like Alcatraz. And you had dungeons that were difficult. Mm-hmm. And that's how you learn to play your class, to play the game. That's how you learn to CC things. That's how you learned to take as a tank, because when I went through it as a tank, how to not thunderclap on CC'd mobs, because you will die and everyone will die.
I've had that mistake
and
too.
How to LOS pull back when warriors didn't have a ranged attack and you had to shoot your pea shooter at them. And then run around a wall, and then if you're a hunter, you had to lay it, because you didn't have trap launcher.
Nope.
You had to lay a trap around the corner so they would LOS into a trap and be CC'd.
And sometimes that trap would get the wrong mob.
And sometimes that would happen, and you would learn from that mistake. Now you don't have to do that. And I think Cataclysm was a harken back to that, because Cataclysm dungeons were actually difficult. When you went in with quest gear, crafted gear, those heroics were hard. Mm-hmm. You didn't just go right into heroics. You went through normals until you got a respectable item level, 330, 340, I think it was, and then you started in heroics, and they were still hard, and I like that. Mm-hmm. But there was a variety. There were some that were easier, so you could start with easy ones and kind of just get your way, and then you went into Halls of Origination, and you got your ass kicked in there a couple times, and you had to learn, and you had to learn how to play the game. I don't see that now. I don't see, because mob heroics were a joke. Mop heroics, you
agree.
literally you hit 90, and then you went right into mop heroics, and
it was not very hard at all.
But that was also the beginning of LFR. And so mop heroics were a stopgap. You got that gear to go into LFR, then to go into regular raids. And yeah, you could get by in heroic gear in the regular normals. But the point I'm trying to make is that I think that by devaluing dungeons, you devalue gear. And by devaluing gear, you devalue the entire experience, because this game is predicated on that. Is predicated on the power level of your character. So by saying, okay, here's all this free gear, garrison missions, shipyard missions. Here's these. You know what I love? I love the idea of weekly events. I love that idea.
Oh yeah.
I don't like so much how it makes me feel when I play the game, because it makes me feel like I have to do it. But I'm very much a completionist, and so it bothers me when I don't do my 5 time walking dungeons or my 5 mythics, and I miss out on a cachet or I'm sorry, catch. Because it's not called cachet. It's not a fucking French word. Cachet.
But it's so fun to say.
No, that I feel like a moron when I say
cachet.
Cachet. Sacre bleu.
Sacre bleu.
So I like the idea of events. What I don't like is it as a system to get you back in content that they messed up to begin with.
Yes. That's actually that's probably the most defining way of saying that. And
that's my whole problem. And then how this ties back into raids is that I felt like sorry, I'm having technical issues over here with
it's our first episode. We're all right. That's all right.
My face isn't working. How it ties back into raids is that I don't like content that doesn't have a place.
Yes.
And Highmall to me was a great raid. It was a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun.
I think the fights in there were challenging. They challenged you to execute, and then because I remember when we got through normals and we started killing heroic bosses, and I was like, "Fuck yeah,
challenge!"
This is fun. This is challenging. I'm having fun. I'm talking shit to my guildmates. I never topped meters. I got close a couple times because we have some really, really good DPS classes in our guild, and they really know what they're doing. But talking shit, we were having a lot of fun in it, and the Imperator fight, was challenging. But the item level of the gear was 670. You stepped right in to BRF when it came out, getting the same item level gear, but the tier was like the difference was like 5 item levels.
Yeah, it wasn't very big.
Before they had to come in and buff all the item levels of the gear because they realized, oops.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And to talk about one thing about Imperator.
Yeah, I know you have a bone to pick with Imperator.
The thing I hated the most, and the funny thing is about Imperator was I didn't get AOTC with the guild. I did it with the pug. And the reason why I got it done with the pug, well, because I played a shit ton. I mean, I love I'm a big raider now. I don't PvP as much as I used to. I don't do arena anymore. But as a raider, I just love to do the raids, even if I have to do them over again on the same character or just level up another character and do it. You know how it is.
Right.
But Imperator bothered me, especially in pugs, because they'd fill up the whole 30 and have 9 fucking healers. And the reason why I got the AOTC before we got in the guild was because 9 healers cheese the fight. And I think, and again, it goes back to what we were talking a little bit earlier, and we'll kind of talk about it as we go on with the podcast in future episodes, is that the right thing? Because
is that the right design?
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
Because there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot. We could spend the entire episode talking about raids. So I think the state of raiding right now to me, the state is that I think Hellfire is a good raid. I think that it's less RNG than the previous tier, which was Blackrock Foundry and Highmall. Highmall was not so much RNG other than the Imperator fight was a little RNG-ish.
It wasn't too bad.
I think that Blackrock Foundry, the first, depending on the order that you went, because we killed Blast Furnace and then and then Black Hand. Those were our last 2 bosses.
Yep.
I think that the first 8 bosses, pretty well designed, pretty fun. Not so happy about the loot system and bonus rolls and things like that, but that's just how. I'm not going to even talk about that because that's just how these types of games are. And so if you don't like it, go play Hello Kitty at Island Adventure.
Yeah, that's
You should join my guild on that game, by the way. It's so the first 8 bosses, thought they were great. The last 2, and speaking in specifics, Blast Furnace and Black Hand, I thought Blast Furnace doable. I think we did it on heroic in about 20 to 25 tries.
Yep, it wasn't that bad.
We got into Black Hand, and it was like everything you learned about this instance, throw it out the window, because the whole point of this instance is the whole point of this fight is, are you going to get lucky?
Yep.
Unless you have 30 people.
Exactly. Because we had the same problem with our healer, our other Olvum.
Well, we don't know if he want his name.
Sorry, Bob, the paladin.
Franklin.
He always had the same problem where every time we were healing and we go into demolition phase in phase 1, it would always land near him or on him, and he would die like instantly. And I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's obviously not a bad player. He's
terrible.
I hope
you hear this. I hope you hear this, you fucking scrub.
It's like, somebody hit me with a shield or bop me, or it's like, bop yourself. Or. That's an inside joke. Sorry. But that's the thing, is because we had such a small group going in, not only did we have to play perfect, not like mythic perfect, but perfect for the amount of people we had.
Size.
Yeah, we had to somehow get lucky RNG. We literally had to get lucky RNG to get through that fight. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, completely. And being a hunter, being one of the classes that had to kite the siege engine around, being, it's a proximity aggro, so you had to be standing closest to it. Not a problem. Yep. I have disengage. Not a problem. Standing next to it, getting targeted for impale, and then having the tank aggro on me.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you guys thinking? How does, you can't tell me in your internal testing and your beta testing and alpha testing that this never happened to anyone until me. You can't say that to me.
Well, that's the thing. We don't. That obviously it's a factor. We don't know how Blizzard tested.
I'm not the first person.
Oh, I'm sure.
On a 6-hour a week raiding guild and a 2-day a week guild, I'm not the first person that ever happened to.
No, definitely not.
And they had small raid sizes tested. If you don't raid test small raid sizes, what the fuck are you guys doing? Why am I giving you $15 a month? Sorry to come down on you a little bit here, but Jesus Christ, really think about it. They really need, so like I said, I have a real problem with Black Hand. The same problems, don't have them with Archimon. I don't really see the same. I mean, I still think that larger raid sizes have an easier time in there. And that's just, I think that's inherent in their scaling model, to be quite honest. But overall, I think Hellfire Citadel is a good raid.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
I like.
Besides the green,
but it's just a lot of green. There's a lot of Mountain Dew in this place. I hope they got some good dentists.
God, they never sleep in that fucking place.
No. I think that they focus a little too much on ads. A little bit. I think ad management is a little overdone in the instance, because I mean, if you look at the last 4 bosses, if you're going by raid journal or our progression, Archimon, Manaroth, Tyrant, Socrathar, Zool. I know I'm going more than 4.
Oh shit! Fucking Gorefiend,
Iskar, Gorefiend, Kilrog. I mean, those are the final 8 bosses in the instance. They all have some form of ad control,
and it's funny because
where you're not just moving Like, you're not just like, oh yeah, just tank the ad and we'll cleave it down. Like, to me, that's not ad management. It's literally all DPS switch to take care of this ad and lose DPS time on the boss, because that's how we design the encounter.
Yeah.
So I think that's a little overdone, to be quite honest. I think, they have the council fight, like every, like classic Blizzard council fight.
Love it.
That's featured in every raid.
It's seriously one of the easiest fights,
and
in there too.
it's probably the easiest raid in there, because there's even ads in that fight.
There are.
When the Blade Master. The Blade Master shithead splits into like 7 or 8 different other shitheads, and you have to kill them.
But see, the funny thing about that with ad management on that fight, it's just all you have to do is kill them. You don't have to like kite them.
There's no tanking. There's no kite. Yeah, there's no like dispel or anything you have to do on them. So, overall, I really feel like this is a good raid tier, and it's a good raid tier to lead in to Legion. The question, and I don't want to get off on this tangent because we still have 3 other topics to talk about. Is how long are we going to be in here? Because my prediction, not based on anything, I predict that BlizzCon, they're going to announce a beta date, and that the game will release Q2.
I like that. I mean, obviously, I'd want Legion to come out earlier, but there's no way because
Excuse you.
God, I just burped into the fucking mic. I'm so sorry. But because I feel like hey ladies. But at BlizzCon, I think Overwatch is going to be one of the big things they're going to be talking about anyways.
Oh, they're definitely. Oh, my mic.
It's a pilot. Remember, this is the first episode.
And I'm not talking about the mic I'm talking to. I'm talking about the mic I'm talking in.
In it too.
We're pretty casual around here, even though the podcast is not so casual. I don't care. I'd rather have a fun podcast than be like, everything's perfect. Hey, everybody, what's going on? I've got Frank calling in from Cincinnati. How do you feel about Legion, Frank? Frank, it's awesome. That's awesome. All right, thanks, Frank. That's good stuff. So getting back on topic.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I was.
We were talking about the Hellfire raids, right?
Yeah, I remember that part.
Remember that part?
I remember. I think BlizzCon is gonna shove Overwatch down our throats.
It's gonna probably be.
They're not gonna talk about. I really highly doubt they're gonna talk about a new Diablo 3 expansion. They need to.
No,
I really doubt. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of Legion stuff for sure.
The new StarCraft 2 expansion.
The new StarCraft 2. There's gonna be a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna take Overwatch and make. This is where our podcast, and you will get used to this, goes down and spirals. They're going to take an Overwatch-shaped dildo and just shove it down our throats. Like,
so deep.
They won't lube it up. They'll just shove it down there and be like, love our game. Okay. So if they push off Legion to Q3, they're going to have a problem. And that's the big lull time for WoW too, is Q3 in the summer. So I really think they're going to try and get this out end of Q1, beginning Q2. And so
they have to, because I'm not going to deal with another SOO that lasted a whole year.
A year and a half.
There's no fucking way.
It's not happening. So, okay. So not to push you along, let's talk about PvP for a minute. The state of PvP now. I think we can be pretty quick with this because there's really not much to fucking talk about.
There really isn't, and I only went into Ashran once.
Oh damn it! We were gonna do a fun game.
Which one?
Okay, I'm gonna count to 3, and then I want you to say the first word that comes to mind when you think of PvP. Okay, so after 3, 1, 2, 3, Ashran.
Dicks.
Both correct. Both quite correct.
Yeah. So, and I'll be quick with this because I only went in Ashran once, and I know they made the fixes with the mercenary mode and all that stuff. So like the queues and stuff are a lot faster, but more than likely you're going to get on a losing team anyways. Exactly. Arena. I haven't done any arena since probably season 3. I got Gladiator season 1, and then I really didn't really care about
season
that too
1
much.
11 years ago.
Oh, it feels like it's probably like 6 years ago. And but
totally relevant.
But arena wise, the only thing PvP really has, because world PvP sucks. It's always kind of sucked,
terrible.
except for Terran Mill South Shore. World PvP sucks. Ashran was a letdown. It was buggy, and then they fixed it, and then more shit was going on, and I don't want to get into it because I just don't want. It just stresses me out because I used to be such a hardcore PvPer. But the thing I do still kind of like to watch, especially on like Twitch streams and stuff, is Arena. Some of the big guys that still play, like Hansel, like Fire Mages.
So hot right now.
It's so hot right now. And like, and Arena's fun, and it's the only competitive thing that's come out of the game anymore. Like competitive rating, the race to number 1 is not really a.
It wasn't a fucking race in Hellfire. It was Paragon and everyone else.
Yeah, well, let's see, Method before the breakup. And then,
was it Method that got all the world first?
Method got the world first.
Sorry, Method.
Oh,
if any of you guys listen to this, feel free to send me hate on
Twitter.
Well,
and then they split up, and then Serenity. So that the race, we'll talk about the race later on in the podcast.
Well, that's why to me the race isn't even a thing. I mean, we're getting back on raids.
Yeah,
let's stick with PvP.
So, anyways, back to PvP. Arena's great. I think it's the only thing that I'd like to watch anymore. I don't even want to play Ashran. I don't want to do Arena. It's just the class balancing's kind of fucked up. Off-spec healing is a big issue in Arena, especially, and PvP. And, it's just whatever. I just don't want to do it.
Off-spec healing as in like a Shadow Priest being able to heal.
Yeah, or a Druid. Like a feral Druid being able to heal.
Popping rejuves everywhere.
Exactly. Like, it's whatever.
Fuck those guys. Huh?
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
So with PvP, with me, I said it earlier, I'm going to harp on gear. And I think that for me, it comes back to gear again. So I, as a casual PvPer, I know this is the not so casual podcast. I'm definitely a casual PvPer. Arenas were a lot of fun in Wrath of the Lich King. Not so much since then. I haven't really had. I find myself having more "fuck you, fuck this game" moments in arenas than I had. Fuck you, yeah, I'm awesome. Like that was such a great match,
right?
So either way, fuck you. But like, I have more rage moments than I have actually moments of joy.
Yeah.
With Arena.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not my thing. Maybe I'm just a terrible Arena player. I'd be the first to admit it if someone watched me on a stream and was like, "Bro, you suck a bag of dicks at Arena."
You're like, I know.
And I'd be like, "Sweet, thanks for input, jackhole." But no, I mean seriously, like I can admit when I'm not good at something. I'm not good at RTS games. I like to play story modes, but
campaign's the best. By the way,
I'm not good at competitive. Like if you put me in a ladder with like 4 autistic kids, they would beat me.
Oh my god,
they would, because I'm just not good, man. I don't have, my brain just doesn't process that. So but in PvP, like I feel like I had a grasp on that at one point, and now it's like I watch shoutcasts of these guys.
Oh my god,
I have no idea what the fuck is going on. I'm like, oh, that was a frost nova, I think, and then there's an orb out there, and then somebody
got silenced. How did he get silenced?
And then there's like he trinketed, and then the guy's like, he trinketed. Oh, he's down, and then everyone else just leaves. Like I arenaed when we actually, if I did 3s and someone died, the other 2 people would actually still keep trying.
Oh yeah,
and we pulled out some epic shit before. Now it's like someone dies, everyone just fucking leaves game. So scrub. Leave, like
that's you see that a lot if you guys watch any Twitch streams. That
so I don't. Maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I'm an old man and I'm just not keeping up with it.
No, I think it comes back to where the class balancing is really affected. Is really affecting the arenas, and just PvP in general. Because, like you said, back in the day, we used to do 3v3s, even not even. I shouldn't say 2v2s, 3v3s and 5v5s, and if one person died, you still had a chance. If you still had that one fucking mage that almost died and you can knock him out, you're back in a 2-on-2, and it's a brand new match. Yeah. And they didn't have
reset.
And they didn't have this like clock tick where it's like, your healing is reduced and stuff. It was like, no, you play until your fingers are bleeding. Like I was fucking casting rejuves and life blooms and fucking hiding and drinking.
2-hour doubles arenas,
and match. Those to me, it sucked because your hands hurt afterwards, but those were some of the best moments and best games I ever had playing doubles.
I think now it's too dependent on, Ashran was good idea and concept ultimately fell short. And I think that in all of these, and I think the next topic is kind of combined into kind of like they're very much so related. I think it all comes into, because this is a very good segue.
Yep.
This comes into the delivery. What did we receive with Warlords of Draenor?
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone who understands what I'm talking about just kind of said a silent prayer to the WoW gods that they don't do this with Legion, because it was overpromised and underdelivered, and the gap is bigger than any expansion I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They didn't even tell us a lot of things that were getting cut. A lot of things they didn't even address Farallon. You know, and it's not like they didn't have Farallon built, as in built in game, because it's there.
Yep.
You just can't see it right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about garrisons in the next episode, but I think my biggest point of contention is garrisons right now with that. But so let's get into the next topic is the world. How does it feel to play in the world? And that's quests, flying, rares, doing reputations, any sort of world content. We could probably even put world PvP in there, or lack thereof.
I've gotten ganked once on our server.
I got ganked once because I was in Lion's Watch and a group of about 25 Hordes rolled in and just wiped the place.
All right.
And I was like, all right, sweet. Thanks, bros.
No, I was just outside Lunar Fall and just...
You know, actually, that's a good point. You just reminded me. There was, in the beginning of the expansion, people were kind of... There was a feel out period of the world and feeling out, you know, how's it going to go? Mm-hmm. And because garrisons were phased, a bunch of Hordes would just stand outside the Lunarfall garrison, and just wait for people to come out, and just be like, "Oh, here's one, gank. Here's one, gank." But that's not good gameplay.
That's not.
That's people being dickheads and taking advantage. And I mean, I did it to Hordes, but so like it's whatever. But like that's taking advantage of a poor game mechanic, which is phasing. So, and that actually ties into the world as well. So, this is where I could talk for hours.
Yeah, and we don't want to go too far over, but
I mean,
we might have to go in a separate episode and really go in depth with some of this stuff, because you are more of the completionist than I am. I like to do the stuff that I like. I like to get the mounts that I like if I can.
So then I think it's a good idea. I think we're about at our limit here with what we want to do per episode. Let's take the world.
Okay.
For the next episode, including the garrison, and trust me, the garrison's going to be half of that fucking podcast.
Oh, God.
And we'll talk about how it feels to play in the World of Warcraft right now, and then talk about the garrison, and really it's going to be, in my opinion, just to kind of sum up, with how I feel about not Legion, with how I feel about Warlords, missed opportunity. If I had to sum it up in a phrase, I really feel like it's a big missed opportunity. And then later we found out a lot of content was cut because of this. I don't even know the right word. Idiotic 1 year time frame.
Yeah.
Overachieve. I mean, they're not even overachieving because they're not gonna follow through with the 1 year expansion.
They didn't over deliver on content.
They didn't they overpromised and underdelivered. And I've said that a couple times, but I really feel as though if I were to sum up Warlords of Draenor, it would be she's gonna start squeaking the toy. This is a good
we're getting dog aggro right now.
But to sum up, disappointing, and I mean, I still love the game. I'm still going to play the game. Disappointed with the product that was delivered, and we'll get more into that because raids are just a part of what I do. But I'm pretty much just disappointed, and I'm really excited for Legion because I think that they're going to have the right idea.
If you guys are hearing this shit right now,
Squeak, squeak, squeak.
Josh's dog's name is Jess. He's the hunter. She's the hunter pet, and she's got this
She's squeaking a
fucking
toy right now.
snake toy. I'll have to tweet it out at some point. But anyway, she's calling for attention right
it's
now.
It's an epic item, and it's called the interrupter of podcasts.
It really is. So and that's, I kind of agree with what you said to kind of like sum it all up. And for me, I guess I really hated a lot of things, but if I were to sum it up into a word,
doesn't that say enough?
Yeah, it really does.
We're not talking about how awesome this expansion is. Like,
I have
to really kind of search for awesome things about this expansion.
And it's only here. Oh, this is great. This is great.
Like
not.
What you said, there's a lot of things I hate about it. That's the first thing out of your mouth. Like, that's not a good model going forward. It's not. And I think that speaks to game design, content delivery, and systems for content delivery, i.e., making people go back into dungeons for a weekly event.
Yeah, I mean, they try to do a little bit of that with challenge modes, but that was, I don't know, that was probably the hardest thing.
I think challenge modes are great.
I think they should put that in there as like a precursor to make things easier to transition into the raids, maybe, and we can talk about that later.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about game systems in a different episode.
Exactly. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed our first pilot episode of Not So Casual Gaming Podcast. And Josh, you have any closing words for our first ever podcast together?
I am so excited to do this. I have wanted to participate, be part of a podcast for so long. It's been ever since kind of I heard the first podcast, got into Joe Rogan's podcast.
Oh yeah. Got
into a couple other ones that I still listen to now. The Fighter and the Kid is a great podcast right now. I just, there's nothing better to me than sitting down with your best friend and talking about stuff that you like to do or common interests. So to me, I'm so excited about this. I was like kind of nervous before this, but not nervous like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to say, because I know what to say.
Yeah.
But like I was energetic, like nervous energy. Like
we're waiting to get it out.
Let's fucking do this.
Yep.
I'm so excited. I'm really excited to deliver content to people, and really just enhance what we're doing. And I think this is going to be awesome. I think we're going to do great.
Those are choice words. I like them. And yeah, same for me, guys. I started listening to Star Talk. I think it was my first podcast.
Star
Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and which is amazing if you guys don't listen to it. And then I started listening to a lot of World of Warcraft podcasts, and shout out to CTR and the Instance and all the big guys out there. But it was one of those things
it's okay to curse on your podcast, guys.
Yeah, they cuss every once in a while.
Check out how easy this is.
You can tell that we don't filter anything. And obviously, if you're offended, I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Josh is never going to be.
If you can't control your emotions to not be offended, you should probably go back to grade school. Sorry.
Okay, but again,
now that nobody's listening,
so hopefully, if you guys are still there, the few of you that are still there, no, but it's the thing, it's kind of like what you said. It's easy to sit down and just let it all out. We get to do it. We kind of get to do it when we're at home, but it's like we have other shit going on.
That's the thing is that with us, I feel like there's we have things to say.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And it's entertaining because
totally.
People tell us, they're like, when you two get together, it's creepy. You guys can talk about anything for hours, and it's like, let's make some money off this bitch.
I think the funny thing is because I'm Filipino, I look Filipino. Josh is a quarter Filipino, so we think that we may be brothers, or we should have been brothers growing up. We say a lot of weird shit at the same time too. It's fucking creepy.
Well, my experiment does not flesh that out from earlier.
Dicks.
All right, I think we've run our course here.
We did. And guys, if you guys like the podcast, make sure you guys subscribe to us here on iTunes or on Stitcher, wherever you're listening to us. And
hit us up on Twitter.
Josh, what's your handle?
At @NotTheRealJoshD.
That's at @NotTheRealJoshD for him. And I'm at Panda Memnon. And also we're Yeah. And also, we're on twitch.tv/pandamemnon. We are. And we will do dual raids on our raid nights, Tuesdays and Wednesday nights. Or I'll be on randomly, or Josh will be on randomly, just playing video games with you guys. And I hope you guys tune in next time for episode 2, and we will see you guys later.